Hi students, this is our instruction for Unit 2, okay? This is the unit on education. So I'm going to share my screen with you and show you the instruction for the Unit 2 in Burlington English on education. So when you see what I'm going to show you right now, it's going to take a second here. Okay, so all right, here is the Unit 2 on education. So when you get into Burlington English, remember that your practice pages are going to be blue. My instruction pages are green. So this is Unit 2, okay? And this is the unit you're assigned for this week. And you should be getting through this unit by the end of the week, hopefully, Saturday or Sunday. So I'll be checking on your progress and seeing how you are doing. And if you have any questions or concerns, again, please, you can email me, you could give me a phone call, or you can send me a text. So let's get ready and start our unit on education. So in this beginning lesson, you're going to review present continuous for the future. So for the future, what's going to happen in the future? Are you working next Saturday? No, I'm going to the beach. Remember, next Saturday is the future, right? All right, let's continue. So here's a conversation that we can look at. And here are some questions. Let me move my screen here. All right, so read the phone conversation. We can read this conversation. And this has present continuous. Remember that present continuous is the be verb. Are, right? Am, is, are is the be verb. And the verb with ing at the end. The base verb with ing. When are you starting college? So here's your be verb, and here's your base verb, start with ing at the end. Next week, I'm meeting with a counselor tomorrow. She's helping me choose my courses. You can probably get advice from other students too. Do you know any? Yes, I'm having lunch with my cousin later today. He's also a student at the college. Maybe I'll ask him some questions. So it's basic, present continuous. We have talked about present continuous in the past, so this could be a review for you. So when we look at this, when we have something to read, we can always find the answer here for the questions here, okay? When is Subin starting college? Well, let's see. I'm meeting with the counselor tomorrow. She's helping me choose my courses. But right here it says next week. So for this, we type. And so when you have questions like this in your practice, you will type the answer. So let's look at our answers. Who is he meeting with? When is Subin meeting his counselor? When are these activities taking place? In the present or in the future? Okay, so it's talking about the future. Next week, later today, that's the future. All right, so present continuous for future. Use the present continuous for planned events in the future. So again, we have the positive or the negative. I'm starting college next week. She's starting college next week. Negative, he isn't or is not. We aren't or are not. He isn't starting college next week. We aren't starting college next week. So with a question, remember that the word order is a little different. Are you starting college next week? You start with your verb here. Yes, I am. No, I'm not. And when you use the WH questions like who, what, when, where, and why, okay, the WH questions, who, what, when, where, and why. When are you starting college? Okay, so you start with the question word, then you have your be verb, then you have your continuous tense. Okay. So let's go to practice. So here's some practice on using which actions that are happening now. That's present continuous. It's happening now and going on. Which describe events planned in the future. Choose the correct answers. So remember that a present tense and present continuous sometimes can be very similar. But when we're talking about a time frame out ahead in the future, we'll use that present continuous as well. My sister's getting married next spring. Is that now or is that the future? That is the future. And you look for some keywords when you're talking about future, like next, next year, next month, okay, next week. When you're talking about next year or in 2 years, in 6 months, okay? How about number 2? She's talking on the phone now. There is a keyword that tells you it's happening right this minute, right now, okay? So there's a keyword that tells you that this is the present. I am not working tomorrow. There's another keyword that talks about the future, tomorrow. What about the word today? Today would be now. Tomorrow is the future. Yesterday is the past, but we are talking about the future here. So we're looking for keywords that talk about the future, a point in time that's ahead of now. They aren't going on vacation next summer. This is a negative, are not, see, it's a conjunction here. I'm sorry, a contraction, wrong word, a contraction. Next summer. There is your key word for future. He's filling out the form now. Now, there's your keyword for the present. I'm gonna have to move my box again. We are renting an apartment at the moment. At the moment, that is present. This one was present. So let's check the answers. Yep, all good. Let's look at some more practice. See, we are talking about present continuous for the future. Okay, so we are given some information, but we'll have to complete it. How do we complete it? We type in the answers. So we have a conversation in number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5 between 2 people. Leslie, number 1 is Leslie and Ricardo. So it's asking a question, to school next semester. And Ricardo is giving an answer, yes, but not full-time. So let's see how we do this. Remember continuous tense, we're going to be using the be verb. Are you going to school next semester? So they're giving you a subject, you, meaning Ricardo, and the verb you want to use in the continuous tense. And remember, we always use be. Am is, are, was, or were is the past tense of the continuous. But when we're talking about the future, we will use present, right? Present. Are you going to school next semester? Yes, but not full time. I am. Okay. Take is the verb we need to use. Taking 3 classes. All right, so show next. There we go. So you will continue to fill in the boxes in the same way, okay? They're giving you a subject for the first sentence here and the verb you use to change to continuous, okay? Start or speak, come, bring, visit, meet, transfer, stay, okay? So you can see, and there's only the 5 questions here, okay? So you see, are, I'm, are, where for that plural there, and Vladdy, he is staying. So you see the ways that you can use the present continuous, okay, to talk about the future. We'll do one more practice and then you will be able to do as much practice that you want to do, and we would like for you to complete all of the practice and your exercises. So here we're going to write some sentences using the present continuous, and they've given us again the words we need to use, okay, to create the sentence. So for example, we'll look at the first answer as an example for us to follow. If you follow the pattern of the example, that will always help you to follow the pattern of the example. My sister is moving next month. Okay, so they're not, the words aren't quite in order, so we had to put them in order, okay, and then write the sentence with move, that's our verb, and then the time period for the future. So let's look at number 2. Let's see, I'm not sure. No, it doesn't look like it's going to let me type in there, so let's look at the answers. I'm staying home tomorrow. The students are taking a test next Monday. Also, here's a tip for you to notice in the exercise. See the capital letters? Capital letter, capital letter, capital letter, capital letter. Those would be the first words in the sentence because you always start your sentence with a capital letter. Okay, there's more practice, but we'll go to the review at the end because they're just different types of exercises for practice, and you can do that in your lessons. So now we're correcting the error in each sentence, and according to what we were practicing present continuous for the future. Are you start your new job next week? So we're, remember, doing continuous, and continuous has ing. So let's write it in. Are you starting your new job next? Remember to put the punctuation in as well. Capital letter, question mark at the end. All good. So you're trying to find an error in the sentence. These sentences are not written in the correct way. And we are correcting. Sandra are meeting with a counselor this afternoon. Okay, that's your future. They moving to their new apartment next June. That's the future. He is going to a job interview tomorrow, future. Adam not working tomorrow, future, because he has an appointment. She isn't take any classes next semester, all future. So those are keywords that you look for. This afternoon, later today, tomorrow, next month, next year, next summer, next June. Okay, so let's see if we follow the pattern. Again, we're using our continuous. Now this is a question, so let's type this one in. I'll show you, for example, a statement. This is a statement. And Sandra, sorry, I have to reset, I think, in order to be able to, there we go. So I'll have to, so you guys get to see my typing skills. And I must say That was the best class I took in high school because now I am able to type a little bit better than if I never had that class. And we used typewriters, not computers. Okay. Sandra is meeting with a counselor this afternoon. Remember, Sandra, she is, okay? So we'll look at, here's a question. Are you starting your new job next week? Here is a statement. Sandra is meeting with the counselor this afternoon. Okay, so here the word start was the error we needed to correct, and here the verb are was the error we needed to correct. Okay, so you can see the pattern of how you correct the sentences. What's wrong? Right here, it's the word they because they don't have the be verb. There, they are. Here, it's a question. And remember, you need to start this question with the verb here. It's not a WH question. Okay, it's not who, what, when, where, why. If it was, you'd have that question word there at the beginning. But since it isn't, you just have the be verb starting your question. Same as number 1. And then Adam isn't, not Adam am. Am only goes with I. And then she isn't take. Take was what was incorrect, taking. Okay, so let's go on to our next lesson. Okay, you're going to listen to a student-teacher conference and speak about progress in school. Right, we're gonna look at discussion, predict content, role play. So here is a teacher and a student. So here's a student-teacher conference, and I would have a conference with you a couple of times during the semester, of course, when you're registering. And about halfway during the semester, looking at goals, we would maybe chat a minute about your goals and how are you doing on your goal. That would be around midterm time, which we've passed so far. So, and again, I would have one with you at the end of the class, and we would work together, picking class for you for the next semester. We would look at all your scores, and I would give you some notes on things that you can work on and practice and things that you did great, like giving you a little bit of a report card. So we have conferences and we discuss your work and what you can do to improve. The picture shows a student-teacher conference. What do you think this teacher and student are talking about? Let's see, they are looking at the student work. All right. Well, I said they are looking at the student's work. Possible answers: the student's work, a test, yes. So they were looking at some work for the student. Okay, so let's look at the vocabulary here. Now I have another page I want to show you. I'm not sure if it's going to let me go out of this and let's share. And it's a different screen. I don't know if it's going to let me show you that. Here it is. Okay. So these are the vocabulary words. So this is from your practice, and these are the vocabulary words for this student-teacher conference section of your practice. Okay, listen and speak a student-teacher conference. Okay, student-teacher conference, attendance, certificate program, missed class, move up a level, placement, practice, score, transfer, advice, computer information technology, counselor, make progress, practice, semester, and skilled. So these are your vocabulary words, and when you're working, you will be able to click on and listen and hear the vocabulary words. So we'll go back to this. So these are the words that we would be using in this practice of vocabulary. If you need more practice in English, you can use a vocabulary app to learn new words. What else can you do if you need more practice? What can you do? I love that idea of using an app. You can put a dictionary app on your phone. You can find lots of different apps to use on your phone or your pad or your computer. So let's look at what they gave us for an answer. I can do more grammar worksheets. So again, it's not a definite, yes, this is the only answer for some of these questions. There are some different answers. I can do more grammar worksheets. I can use a dictionary app and look at a word of the day. I can practice writing my vocabulary words on a note card with the word on the front and the definition on the back. In adult school, students take a placement test into a level. When did you take a placement test? So it's asking you some questions. When did you take a placement test? You took a placement test in the beginning, right? And you'll take a placement test at the end. 85 on a test is a high score. What is a low score? So these are just asking you some questions using the vocabulary words. Score, miss class, certificate program, move up a level. All right, here's some listening practice. Ariana is at a student-teacher conference. Listen to the conversation, then choose the 2 correct answers to the question. So we can listen to their conversation.
Hi, Ariana. How are you today? Okay. What's wrong? Did something happen? No, it's just that this class is hard for me. English is a hard language. Will I ever know it well, Ms. Burke? Why do you say that, Ariana? You're making progress. Really? Yes, we had 3 tests this semester. You got a 68 on the first test, then a 70, then a 78. Your scores are improving, and that's great. But there's one problem. Oh, what's that? Your attendance. You don't always come to class. I know. Sometimes I need to stay home with my son. Is there anyone who can help you? Your husband, a neighbor, a friend? My husband is starting a new job next week. He's going to work in the evenings, so he'll be free during the day. I won't miss class anymore. Good. Can I ask you something, Ms. Burke? I need some advice. Of course, Ariana. I think I need more practice in listening and speaking. What can I do to improve?
Okay, so we heard the conversation between Ariana and the counselor at school. And here's the question, what do Ariana and her teacher discuss? So again, we always want to make sure we look at the directions. This says choose the 2 correct answers to the question. So let's see. Did they talk about scores on tests? The teacher did tell her scores. And she did talk about why she doesn't always come to class, right? The teacher said, one problem is your attendance. All right, check. Yep, all good. Okay, we're gonna go to the speaking section. And listening and speaking are things that you can really spend some extra time practicing now with Burlington English. You can listen to the conversations and you can listen to them a couple of times and then you can record. So if you're working on a phone or a pad, that's easy to record. You can also record on your computer, but you might have to change some settings. So Working on a phone will probably make that a little bit easier, but you can always do the recording on your computer as well. So here, this is some pairs of conversation. So you can listen to this, okay? And then you can practice the conversation, okay? So you can maybe have someone at home help you with this. You can work together with a spouse or one of your children or a friend, and maybe you can even just do it on your own and you can practice, okay? Speaking. And here's a little game for us at the end. Spin the wheel. The object of the game is to answer questions correctly in order to get more points than the other team. Well, we're not having teams and we're not doing this live, so we can skip that. But there might be some things like this in your lessons, some crossword puzzles that they ask you to do using vocabulary, just to give it a little bit of fun. All right, let's go on. Okay. So student services, this is a question about, or I'm sorry, a section about student services. And every institution has student services that can help you if you need some help with class. For example, in the past, I've had some students who've had issues with hearing. And so we've been able to give them some devices to help them hear better in class, okay? And student services can also help you find things in your community, maybe even find a job or find help with getting some services, maybe translation services or document services that you need. You are going to read about student services on 2 college websites. Compare and contrast, use connectors to compare and contrast, and use phrasal verbs. Oh, so let's look at this picture. It looks like this woman has a baby and her baby is maybe sick because there's a thermometer, okay? She has a thermometer in her hand and her baby looks a little bit red in the face. So maybe she's sick. The woman in the picture is a student. Why can't she go to school today? Maybe her baby is sick. What are some other reasons you wouldn't go to school? Maybe your car broke down. Maybe your work hours changed. Maybe you are sick. Maybe someone you care for is sick and you can't come to school. Maybe you injured yourself. So there are lots of reasons that sometimes we just can't get to school. All right, so here's some vocabulary. Now here are places we're going to drop and drag these things into the sentences to complete. So again, there's more vocabulary from this lesson, and we have talked a lot about context clues in the past. Remember, when you look at the whole sentence, then you can figure out which word completes the sentence, okay? You look at the whole sentence, and then you can complete which word fits. What is this saying? Which word fits? That's what context is. The teacher gives me assignments to do on the computer, okay? So what do the words in bold mean? This is what we are using context for. Assignments, that's the bold word, assignments. What do the words in bold mean? We are matching the definition to the word. What is an assignment? Okay, an assignment is homework, right? I can't attend class every day. I work 3 days a week. Attend class. What does that mean? Go to school. Okay, so let's look at what it tells us. Here we go. I am eligible for, I can get. I drop off, I take to a place and leave. Tutors, teachers. Offers, gives, graduated, finished school. Let's go on to some reading. So here we're looking at something on a school website, and you can see there are tabs across the top. There are tabs across the top. So again, when I showed you ventures, which is some extra work you are doing, your primary work that you're focusing on is Burlington English, but your extra work you can do in Ventures Arcade. And remember, there were 2 tabs, okay? You could do a unit, unit 1, unit 2, unit 3, or a chapter in the book. And then you could do it by exercise. Did you want to do vocabulary or grammar? So just like that, there are tabs here. And this is student services. Many schools for adults offer special services and programs that can help students stay in school. That's what student services are. So you can see there are things highlighted here. Okay, childcare, subsidized childcare, blended programs. So they give you some information, and when it looks like that, that is on a website, that's something you can click on and it will take you to more information. All right, here's another example. And again, to see the whole thing, you may have to scroll when you're looking at your practice. Okay, there's tabs across the top. Okay, and there are some links. That's what those are called. If you clicked on that, it would link you to online programs. So this gives information about going to school. Okay, so this is highlighted. All right, student services is more about the student services. And these highlighted things tell you those are the programs, they have childcare, and they have a shuttle. Those are the student services that this little reading talks about. Okay, we'll go on to a vocabulary and check more vocabulary practice. So this talks about phrasal verbs. Phrasal verb is a verb with a preposition that changes the verb meaning. For example, take, that's the verb, and take off is the phrasal verb. So we're combining some things together. We're combining a verb with a preposition, like on or in or under or above, or those are prepositions of location, but all kinds of preposition. So this example is take off. You need to take Billy to the doctor, basic verb. Take off your coat, it's hot. So phrasal verbs are verbs that are used in conjunction with other words. They're connected to other words, and they give new meaning to that verb. If we were just using the verb on its own, it means one thing. If we make a phrasal verb and connect it to another word, it means something else. So she picks up her daughter from school every day. She picks up, right? That's a phrasal verb. Oops, I forgot my S, picks up. She often picks apples from the tree. Fill out, okay, fill out and get up. Those are those phrasal verbs. Fill out, get up. Let's look at the second example, or the second page, sorry. Dropped, drop off, drop out. So again, drop out. Here's dropped, just the verb in the past tense, and here's drop off. Okay, making that connection between the two words to give new meaning. All right, let's move to our next lesson. Present perfect with ever and never. So we use these words ever and never quite often when we're speaking. In this lesson, you're going to learn about the present perfect with ever and never. Remember, present perfect is using have with a base verb. I've missed a lot of English classes. Have you ever missed an English class? No, never. All right, so we have a conversation here, and it's using the perfect. Has it helped? He has missed. Have you ever taken an online English course? No, never. So let's read this. My husband is taking an English course at an adult school. Has it helped him improve his English? Not really. He's missed a lot of classes because of work. Maybe he should take an online course. That way he can study from home. That's a good idea. Have you ever taken an online English course? No, never. But my son is taking one now. He loves it. All right, so there are examples of the present perfect here using have, okay? Have with the participle, right? The past tense form of the verb is the participle. What are Emma and Jade talking about? Okay, they are talking about Emma's husband, right? They're talking about Emma's husband. All right, why has he missed classes? Why is an online class a good solution? English courses, because of work. Possible answer, he can work and study at home. So that's what they're talking about. So present perfect. Use present perfect for past actions that continue to the present. I think this might be a worksheet. Yeah. So we will not pop that up right now. So present perfect for past actions that continue to the present. Okay, so here we look at the positive of present perfect and the negative, yes, no questions, and WH questions. I, you, we, they have missed a lot of English classes. He, she has missed a lot of English classes. Okay, so remember that now you can see where you use the perfect tense. Have with I, you, we, and they. Has with he and she. In the negative, we just put the not, okay? We make a contraction, have and not, with the apostrophe, we're missing the letter. Has and not, with the apostrophe, we're missing the letter. Yes, no questions. When the answer is yes or the answer is no, we start with have, right, the verb. Have you missed a lot of English classes, right? We break up the perfect tense here. We break up that verb phrase with the subject. And with WH questions, again, who, what, when, where, why, how. Why have you missed a lot of English classes? Okay, so you start with the question word. Again, you put the subject in between the two parts of the perfect. And this is nice for me to be able to give you this lesson on video because you can go back and watch it again and look at some of the practice and the presentation more than one time. So we have a lot of irregular verbs, and you know that in the back of the textbooks, in the back of the workbook or the textbook, you do have these charts that show the base form, the simple past, and the past participle. So again, when you use perfect tense, you have a past participle with have or has in the present tense. You have a past participle with have or has. The past participle is just a simple past tense word, the word that ends in ed, the verb. played, jumped, wanted. Those are ed ending words. Attended, started, fixed. Okay, but some of those words, some of our words in English don't end with ed as the past tense because they're irregular. So if you're not sure, you can go to the list in the back of the book, okay? Or you could look at this list here. All right, and you can see the past participle, okay? So you all will have this list in the back of your textbook, and they show you because these are irregular and they don't make the past tense with ed at the end. Remember, you have a lot of these words. We did the ed ending worksheets with the different sounds of the ed ending, the past tense verbs with ed at the end. Those are regular. These are irregular. All right, let's do a practice. Here we go. So here are a whole bunch of words. Look, that kind of looks like a game, right? How quickly can you find and write the past participle forms of the irregular verbs? So all the past participles are here, and you just have to write them in here. Began, begin, began, eat, spoken, took, oh, sorry, wrong word. Show, let's see, here it is, shown. Read, where is that word? Right here, same thing. Read. Same spelling, different sound. Do, done. Be, been, right? So again, we're just using, this is the base verb, but this is the participle, okay? The past participle. And I'm just typing the words in. Is come. So that's interesting. The participle for come is come, same word. All right, let's do a check. Oh, typed in began wrong. So I will have to correct it, right? Begun, B-E-G-U-N. So again, when you check, you'll be able to see, did I make a mistake and do I need to correct it? Yes, there was a mistake and it allowed me to correct it. Let's look at the next presentation. Present perfect with ever and never. Use the present perfect with ever and never to talk about things that happen at any time before the present. Use ever only in questions. So ever is in questions. Never is in statements. They have never missed an English class. She has never missed an English class. Have you ever missed an English class? Yes, I have. No, I haven't. It's positive answer, negative answer. Has he ever missed an English class? Positive answer, negative answer. Yes, I have. No, I haven't. Yes, he has. No, he hasn't. Okay, so remember, ever goes with questions. And we're using ever or never to talk about things that happened at any time before the present. So before now, okay, before now. So we just looked at something for the future, and now we're talking about something that's happened before now. And you can relate, right? Have you ever missed an English class? I'm not sure if everyone so far has had perfect attendance, but I'm certain that many students have had perfect attendance. But there are all kinds of reasons, like we talked about in the beginning, that you might miss a class. All right, we're gonna do a couple of practices and then move on. Look at the pictures and complete the sentences with never and the present perfect form of the verbs. She has never taken a test before. He has never eaten Chinese food. She has never had such short hair. See the picture? They have never gone to a baseball game. And there's one more page. It has never snowed in May. They have never been on a roller coaster before. Let's check the answers. Good and good. So remember to use that, check your answer. And if you want to start over, you hit reset. Okay, we're going to go on to another, to the next grammar section. Present perfect with recently, lately, already, and yet. There is a lot of grammar in this instruction, and you'll be able to review and review and review. Okay, so that's the good part. You can review this while you're doing before you do your practice. Okay, in this lesson you're going to learn about the present perfect with recently, lately, already, and yet. Have you taken the test already? No, not yet. These are all words that talk about time. So we're doing a lot of talking about time in these lessons today. I haven't seen you in school recently. I've been very tired lately. I work late, so it's hard for me to get up in the morning. I've already missed 3 days of school this month. Can your manager change your schedule? I haven't talked to him yet. I'll ask him tonight. So you can see here we're using the perfect tense. Here are these words about time. Haven't seen, I've been. Okay, recently, lately, I've already missed. I haven't talked to him yet. Okay, so we're looking at, again, present perfect, and we're using these time words. All right, present perfect with recently, lately, already, and yet. Use the present perfect with recently, lately, and already for things that happened not too long ago. So they didn't happen 6 months ago or a year ago, maybe last week or maybe yesterday. Not too long ago. She's been tired lately. Maybe that's been the last week or 2 weeks or month. I haven't seen you recently. Yeah, like in the last month, maybe 1 month. They've already missed 3 days of school. So during the course of the time of school, so if we thought about, for example, for any of our classes, if we started, let's say, in the end of January, right? We started at the end of January. If we started in February, when we're talking about this type of thing, they've already missed 3 days of school. That is talking about the time frame of when the school began, okay? When the school began. So not too long ago, okay? Not too long ago. If it was a full year of school, like a high school or middle school, right? You start in August and you'll end in May. We might use that. They already missed 3 days of school this month or this semester, just to give it a little more exact time period, okay? But our classes are only in one semester, right? We start at a certain time of year and we go for about 4 months, 3 or 4 months. Use the present perfect with yet, only in questions and negative statements. Questions and negative statements. Have you spoken to him yet? She hasn't done the assignment yet. Negative, question, okay? So let's practice. All right, so here they're giving words to us to put into the boxes as we read. This is a good example of using our grammar as we're reading as well. We're practicing reading and we're using our grammar. Alicia is a Spanish speaker and she speaks mostly Spanish with her family and friends. She tried speaking English with her husband recently, but it has not worked. All right, let's check. Has tried. I just wrote tried, but we're using perfect tense. We have to use the perfect tense. Has tried, right? Okay, but it has not worked. So I did put it here, okay? So if you forget, it will show you the correct one. We'll reset and let's look at all of our answers. Has tried, has it worked, has found, has started, move this up, has already gone, has made, haven't met. Now there's your perfect tense, but let's look for these words: recently, lately, already, and yet. Recently, already, okay, and yet, okay. I don't think, I'm not seeing lately in there, so we have used recently, already, and yet. Okay, so again, here's another thing. We're looking at pictures, okay, and using the words recently. Has Maria learned to drive recently? Okay. The college, did the college, or has the college opened a child care center recently? Has Chris gone food shopping lately? Right? This applies to us today, right? Have you gone food shopping lately? That's one of the things that we can go out and do right now is food shopping. Has Megan been sick a lot lately? Have Pedro's grades improved lately? Oh, that's not a great grade, that letter F, but hopefully they'll improve. So you can see recently, lately, already, and yet are words that we use to talk about just the very recent past. Things in the past that were not too long ago. Now let's look at our review. Okay, so here's the review. It's a couple of pages. You see at the bottom again, 1 out of 2. Choose the correct sentence. So we have to pick one that's correct. I haven't read that book already. I haven't read that book yet. Yet. We're not hungry because we've yet eaten. We're not hungry because we've already eaten. Okay, so already again means it's done. Yet means not quite, not done, not done. He's been very tired lately. He's been very tired yet. Lately, during this certain amount of time, in the last week, in the last month. Has she arrived recently? Has she arrived yet? Let's go to the next page. She has yet handed in her assignment. She has already handed in her assignment, right? It's done very recently. I think she's sick. I haven't seen her lately. I think she's sick. I haven't seen her already. Lately. So we can check and go back. All good. All right, let's continue on. So, life skills, we're going to look at the report card. So at the end of the term, if you've been in a class before, you've gotten some sort of report card. Maybe if you have had an ESL class before, you get like a progress report at the end, and it shows the scores you have on your midterm or your final or your work samples. Okay, so we're going to learn about report cards. Report cards were very, very important when you are going through, grade school, middle school, high school, college. So we're interpreting information and role playing. So you may have children and you're looking at their report card with them. So the explanation here, students receive report cards from their school. Parents read the report card to find out how their child is doing in school. There they are, looking at the report card. She's smiling and she's smiling, so maybe that's a good report card. That's a good report card. Look at the picture. Do you think the girl got a good or a bad report card? Well, it's a good report card, right? Because they are smiling. They look happy. All right, so again, context clues with vocabulary. And here are more vocabulary words or phrases that you use. And again, we are looking at the word in bold and finding a word that means the same thing. Context, remember, context, 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 context. That is a very important skill to learn, context, to help you understand what you're reading. So when you look at the whole sentence, there are clues or keywords that help you understand what the word you're trying to figure out means. Students usually receive report cards from their school 3 times a year. So this word is receive. What does that mean? Well, let's see. It talks about a report card and a time that they get it over the course of their full year of school. So, what will help me figure that out? They have it from their school. I think it's get, right? If I could replace the word receive with the word get, would the statement say the same thing? Students usually get report cards from their school 3 times a year. Yep, it's get. So remember, if you can replace the word in bold with one of the vocabulary words here, and it still says the same thing, it still says the same thing, then you know that that's the word that fits. Sometimes students are absent from school because they are sick. Well, if a student is sick when they should be in school, what does that mean? If you're sick and you can't go to school, you stay home, you're not there. Students are sometimes absent. Well, what's up here that would fit? Not here, better, change, can't speak, finish, you're in school, try hard, call you back, not here. And then wait, let's put this one back here so that we can check. Okay. So not here was correct, but again, look for the words excellent, better than very good, complete, finish, make an effort, try hard, grade, you're in school, isn't available, can't speak to you, return your call, call you back. All right. Let's look at the first reading. So here is a report card that you might see if your student brings a card home, and it shows you all kinds of information, all kinds of data. The name of the school, the grade, how many days absent, late 5 times. There are all those kind of things on this report card. So here is the school, middle school, Washington Middle School, grade 8. How many days was she absent? Let's look for the word absent. Here it is right here, 4 days. Which word tells you Alicia was late 5 times? Days, tardy. Tardy means late, 5. Okay, let's go to speaking. All right, so speaking to teachers. If your child is having difficulty in a class, you can make an appointment to speak to the teacher. Or if you are having difficulty in class, you can always talk to your teacher, whether it's me or another teacher, or whether you're maybe working with a volunteer in class, and you can ask your volunteer as well. You can usually do that during class, maybe at the beginning of class or at the end of class, or maybe during the break time. You have a specific thing you want to talk to them about. That's always a good time to do it. So here's a conversation where Alicia's father calls the school to make an appointment with the Spanish teacher, and we're putting the sentences in the right order. It's all about sequence. Can we put them in the right order? How would that conversation go? Think about when you have a conversation with someone, when you make a phone call, or if I call you and I say, hello, this is your teacher, Tracy, how are you? What would you say? I'm fine, I'm okay. If I ask you a question, are you able to work right now? Yes, I am working at the grocery store. I am working at Target right now. I got a job driving for Uber Eats. That's great. Okay, our conversation would go in a sequence, in order. So we need to look at, let's show how this conversation goes. Could I speak to Mr. Ramirez? He's not available. Can I take a message? Yes, please. He explains. Then they ask his name. He gives his name. They ask his phone number. He gives the phone number. They end their conversation. I'll ask Mr. Ramirez to return your call. Thank you very much. Thank you for calling. Goodbye. So there is a definite order, and you could see the order of this conversation. Washington Middle School, can I help you? And then how the conversation goes. All right. Now this last thing is write an email to a teacher. So I had some students write, I think with one of my classes, I did say I would like for you to write me an email. And I do this, I've done this very often in my classes, is ask students to send me an email as practice for using a computer, using email, writing something to the teacher and being able to get a response so you can look at how I respond to you. You're going to write an email to a teacher. You will identify formal and informal language, organize information in short paragraphs. All right. So we're going to do a little bit of practice, and this again is where you're going to save your writing in the portfolio. So here's a little information here. It's an email. You can see the little icons at the top that show it's email. Hi, Mr. Lee. At the parent-teacher conference, we spoke about Jenny's behavior in math class. Okay, that's talking to the teacher. Hi, Mrs. Ricardo. I'm writing to you about Amanda's English grades. So when you start writing, you always want to say hi or hello, and you want to address the person you're talking to. So they're addressing the teachers. So if you're going to write me an email, most of my students call me teacher, but you can say hi teacher or hi Tracy or hi Miss Boughton, whatever you want. Okay, that's a formal way of writing it. So here is a formal email, okay? And here's another formal email, and they're talking about their students, okay? And the issues they have with their students. This one has 1, 2, 3 paragraphs, okay? This one has 1, 2, 3, 4 paragraphs, and they're very short. They're just talking about information about their student. What's important is they have put something in the subject line, okay? You can see that they've put something in the subject line, request to meet, so that the person who's reading the email knows what the subject is. What do they want to do here? They want to meet with the teacher. All right, let's watch while this next section loads. So when they're talking to a teacher, right, or when you're sending an email to a teacher, or even as an employee, if you're sending an email to your employer or someone you work with, you want that to be formal, okay? You don't want to use very informal, everyday language. You want it to be a little bit more formal. Like you don't shorten words like texting, okay? You use all the full words. You don't shorten words like texting. So this is, hi, Mrs. Perez. And something very formal would be dear. Semi-formal is hi and addressing her with her salutation of Mrs. Perez, okay? So her last name with whatever she would choose to use, Mr., if it's a male, Miss or Ms. or Mrs., any one of those. And a more informal way would be saying, hi, Maria. Okay, hi, Maria, just using the first name. Most of the time, you don't know the first name of your child's teacher, or maybe you have a formal setup with work and you call your boss at work or your supervisor, Mrs. So-and-so or Mr. So-and-so. But if you have a relationship with them where you can use the first name, then you could say, hi, John, hi, Jennifer. And then here are the ways you can close. So very formal is saying sincerely. Semi-formal would be saying best, or I usually sign on my email and I say, take care. And then I put my name. And very informal, you just put your name at the end. Okay, and then here's another, okay, showing the formal and informal, opening and closing, okay? So I think for if you're sending an email to me, which is that will be our assignment for you in the plan and write section, it can be semi-formal. It doesn't have to be formal, okay? We like to have a little bit of a less, it doesn't have to be very perfectly formal, okay? All right, and so in this last section, it talks about organizing the information. And so if I ask you to write an email and tell me about what you have been doing during this time that we have not been able to go out and we have had to stay home and we have not been able to go to school, you would organize it in short paragraphs to tell me what you were doing. So this, remember, 1, 2, 3, 4, it has 4 short paragraphs and it gives some information. This is sending this text, this email is going back to the parent. Thanks for letting me know about Pedro. His attendance is part of the problem. Algebra isn't easy. He's been sick. That's why he hasn't been in school. Okay, so you want to just, when you're writing something that you're giving information, you need to break the information or organize the information in paragraphs to make it easy for the reader to understand. So when I've sent you emails, I've tried to make short paragraphs, highlight sections that are important so that you can see them. So there is plan and write. Okay, and I'm going to move this because it's going to show us an example. Okay, so this is an example. Okay, you received this email and have to reply to it. So here's an email and you have to reply to it. In your lesson, you will also have something very similar where you'll be able to plan and write. Okay. And then you have the section, the writing assignment. And when you see this, you can click and you get the model. Okay, this is what they're looking for. That's the model. Okay. And so you'll have a blank screen to be able to write, and remember you can save it. So let's actually go over to these are your lessons, okay? These are your lessons. So here is your writing assignment as part of this Unit 2 lesson. Write an email to the teacher. So again, here's the section where you plan and write, and it shows you an example, okay? Imagine you are Rosa Diaz. You received this email and have to reply. Read the email. So you have to send a reply, okay? And this is how you're going to do it. So you're going to plan, right? So you can plan, okay? This is where you plan. And here they have, drop and drag boxes. You just put them in, okay? And then you will write. So you will take what you did in the planning and you will write it here, okay? So remember, we are, excuse me, we are doing this. This came from Jeremy White and it's to Rosa. Okay, so you are Rosa. All right, last week Alicia handed in an assignment in social studies. It was the work of another student, but she put her name on it. Uh-oh, that's not good. I was surprised because Alicia is usually a very responsible student. I'd like to meet with you next week to discuss the problem. Let me know when you're available. All right, so here again, you are Rosa. You thank the teacher. Okay, discuss the problem, give the teacher information, suggest a time to meet. Okay. And then you're going to write. So you're sending this to the teacher, and I forgot who it was, but you are Rosa. And you wrote, yeah, I forget, Mr. Fabiola, I think it was. And Amanda, I think, was the student, right? All right. And what you want to start with an opening. Hi, Mr. Fabiola. Whoops. Comma, and then you write, right? Okay, and then you are able to save that, remember? Save to your portfolio or reset, start over. Save to your portfolio, then I can go and look in the portfolio and check it, or if you want to edit, okay, you can change it, delete, and start over. Okay, but always save it to your portfolio. Okay, so that is the end of this lesson for Unit 2. for your unit 2, you should complete, we'll go back to the very beginning. Okay, so this is your unit 2, right? So when you work on your lessons, they're blue. And so you have 8 different lessons to work on in unit 2 of education. You can see your progress in the circles, okay? And you can go through the practice. Take your time. You can do 10 minutes today, do maybe 1 lesson today, maybe you can do 2 and 3 tomorrow, but work through. And there's 8 lessons, and they're actually designed to be about 1 hour for each lesson. So watching this video and doing these lessons would constitute plenty of hours for you for this, for your class. And even for my class meeting for only 1 day, if you did all of this, it could count, and you did about 9 hours, 45 minutes with doing the lessons and watching the video. That would be 2 classes. So go through and work through these lessons. I'm noticing that students are working on the lessons, and it's taking somewhere between 8 and 9 hours to complete an entire unit, okay? And that is a couple of days of class, right? So that would be about maybe 2, actually it would be 2 of the 1-day-a-week classes, and it'd probably be 4 of the 2-day-a-week classes. So work through this, try and finish it by the end of this week, and if not, you can work in it until next week. I'll be posting another lesson, Getting a Job, next Monday. And then if you finish through this, you can start on the Getting a Job lesson. I'll be posting and emailing that link to you next Monday. I hope everyone is doing well. Please again remember that if you have any questions, any concerns, please, you can send me an email, you can text me. You all have a text from me at some point. Or you can send, you can call me as well. So I hope everyone's doing well. Thank you to those who are working, and please continue to work. And we're just here trying to help you to get through this semester by working online. And remember, Burlington English is the program that you should be using primarily. That is the homework. Those are the lessons that you should be working in. Ventures Arcade is extra practice that goes with your textbook. That's extra. You really only should be working in lessons in Burlington English right now, as that's why I'm giving you the instruction for Burlington English. And if you want to do extra practice and use your textbook, you can do Ventures Arcade. But we are tracking your work in Burlington English. We are not able to see your work in Ventures Arcade. So please continue to work in Burlington English. And again, contact me if you have any questions. I'm here to help you. So I hope everybody had a great long weekend. It was nice to have a long weekend. Have a great week, and I will see you again soon. Take care, everyone.